The next live start date for the Dynamic Iridology Assessment System program is starting on January 25th. And I only accept 10 students per course. You do need to have a college level anatomy and physiology course under your belt already. Now that could be maybe you're a registered nurse or a registered massage therapist or a physical therapist or an ND. Maybe you had to do a separate anatomy and physiology course of something like, 60 or 70 hours as a part of nutrition training or of your herbal training. And so this is really, really important, and that you have that, because the depth you saw me go into as quickly as I did is only possible when we understand how the body works. Okay, so really important for us to have that foundation. If any of you are thinking, "Ooh, I'd love to take iridology," but you don't have A&P, please reach out to me so that I can connect you with a good anatomy and physiology course. I don't teach it. I don't even get commission for sending people to it. It's just a course that I think is really excellent. And get that under your belt and then come back to me and we'll talk about the course. If you have A&P and you're interested in talking with me about the course, then there's this link, iridology.education/course-info. You'd think that I would have that somewhere where I could copy and paste it, but I don't. That is how you get in touch with me to schedule a Zoom call. That's how you schedule a Zoom meeting so that we can talk about what training you've already got, where you want it to go, what your goals are, and we can discuss whether this course is a good fit for you. It's not a good fit for everybody, and I recognize that, which is why we have to have a conversation. I used to let anybody who wanted register, and it was often not a good fit. They would drop out and I would feel bad, and it was not good. So now we have that conversation to make sure it is a good fit. Just checking the messages. Veronica, who's a student, says, "Incredible knowledge, Judith. I wish to learn from you." And she's just started, so we're early on in her process. Jack is a grad. She's says, "I'm a wonderful teacher." Thanks, Jack. Elmer says, "If massage therapist, no need." Exactly. If you're a massage therapist, if you're a currently licensed massage therapist, that's important that you have to have a current license, then your licensure counts as your proof of having A&P. Jack says, "Definitely recommend this course." Julie says, "But I don't have the education you require, but you've been nice enough to let me join and learn on the side, so thank you. I'm a trainer, health coach for the last 20 years, so I love all things holistic and whole body." Well, Julie, we could sure fix that A&P question, couldn't we? And think of what it would do for the rest of your work with being a trainer and a health coach. Janice says, "What a great way to start off 2024 with this course." Love that. So the goal here, again, with this course is not just to teach you individual markings. Yes, you have to learn the markings, and I will teach you those, but it's to combine, help you understand, because you understand anatomy and physiology, how the markings play off each other, how the body works together or against itself, so that you can actually create useful, meaningful programs rather than putting a Band-Aid here, a Band-Aid here, a Band-Aid there, right? The goal is to help you become a confident and competent iridologist who can do an assessment in the course, or sorry, in an appointment, and not spend hours outside of the appointment writing reports and doing research, right? And so with that, again, if you are interested in learning more, in having one of these little meetings, I'm just going to type this in and hopefully I don't hit any wrong keys. If you're interested in learning more, and that went to the wrong place, just a moment, about the course, and you are, oh my goodness, there we go. Some days I'm tech challenged. There we go. And you just want to have a conversation with me for a few minutes to see if it's a good fit, then do. No obligation, no pressure. I don't believe in pressure. Pressure does not work at all. And so it's a good opportunity for you to see if this is where you need to be. If you want to learn to do iridology like that, And Julie says, oops, yes, I did make a mistake there, Julie. Thank you for catching that mistake. I appreciate that. My students will tell you I'm constantly thanking you for catching me. That's something I love about my students is they are not afraid to tell me when I've made a mistake. And I really appreciate that. I truly do. And so I would love to chat with you to see if this course is a good fit for. And this is not a high pressure offer. I'm just letting you know that normally we have a payment plan. I'm not going to go into details of amounts. That is a 5-pay payment plan. But because the course is not starting till January 25th, students who enroll before the end of November can do the payments over 7 payments so that they can actually, smaller payments over a longer period of time. Naomi says, I definitely want this. Keep in touch and see if I am fit at this time. Liz says, and I love how receptive you are. And Elmer, we talk about the tuition in the calls. I don't talk about it here because this gets published on YouTube and prices change, right? So if I have a price that's published and someone sees an old YouTube, they're going to think it's that old price. So we only talk about tuition in the private meetings that I have with my students. Yeah. And so that's what I've got for you for today. Wow, that was great. How to do an iris assessment that spans 4 or 5 or 6 appointments in like 25 minutes or less, right? And that means that when you get good at this, you can too. One of the things I do with my students is twice a month, my students and my grads is twice a month, we have something called office hours where my students can bring cases they're working on and present them to the group. And if they've got questions about how to assess an iris, we help guide them through that. But mostly I want my students to come in and do the assessment, tell me what evaluation they came up with and what they recommended. And today we had a student who graduated 5 months ago. She certified very quickly with IPA, and she did a complete iris assessment in 15 minutes. Her previous iridology training, she said, would have taken her 2 to 3 hours. Right. And so Chana is saying, I love office hours. That is so good, Chana. It's so good. So we don't just teach the class, but there's all kinds of extra support for my students and my graduates. Could you tell us a little of how long the training is, how many hours per week? Okay, yeah, Naomi, let's talk a bit about that since you asked. The training is 20 weeks. And we meet once each week for about 2.25 to 2.5 hours in a live webinar with you and your cohort. I find that my students who do the best are the ones who, yes, attend classes, but who also spend about 2 hours studying and a couple of hours practicing every week, right? The more you use it, the deeper it sinks, the better you get. And so I like my students to put in that extra 4 hours outside of class time. Every class session is also recorded and is stored on your student site for playback on demand. That way, if you had to miss a class, or if there's something that you were really interested in and you wanted to rewatch it, you can. You've got access to that. In addition to that, I encourage my students, Naomi, that's a great question. I'll answer it in just a moment. In addition to that, I encourage my students to book a one-on-one mentorship session with me halfway through their course, at the end of the course, 5 months after the end of their course, and 10 months after the end of their course, so that I can troubleshoot any areas with them that they might be struggling with. Hopefully, by the time they get to 10 months, there are no struggles, but maybe there are, maybe they're having various issues or they've just got questions they don't want to ask in the public forum. Well, it's not really public, in the group setting of the office hours, right? And they just want some privacy about something. That's great. The office hours are there specifically for them as an extra support. You have access to the recorded versions of your class for 18 months from the first class date. Okay, so since the class is about 5 months long, you have access to everything for about 13 months beyond your last class. But you will always have access to office hours to come to those even after that 18 months. You will always have access to our private MeWe group for as long as I'm teaching. Lauren says, I would love to, but already completed iridology training at the moment, so I think it would be too much. I love the idea of the lives, as I often have questions and would like to chat about. Yeah, I haven't found another teacher who does the live mentoring sessions. So there you go. At any rate, thank you for being with me. Many of my students have already certified in other styles of iridology with other instructors, and they find that what they were taught doesn't really work for them because it's taking them hours to do an iris assessment, and so it's costing them money. Right. When I work with my students and we get them up to speed and we get them doing these styles of constitutional iris assessments, by the time they're finished the class, they are often doing their assessments in 30 minutes or less when they're in session with their clients. So that is a real plus for them. Chen is asking everyone, how many years have you been doing iridology? I've been doing iridology for over 4 decades. And I chose IPA. That's a good question. I was a Jensenian iridologist at the beginning. And yeah, about 5 or 10 years into it, I realized it wasn't working. It wasn't doing what I was told it would do. Eyes were not changing in spite of the rigorous programs I was developing and that my clients were doing. And right about then, I had the opportunity, through some very happy accidents, if you will, to start learning constitutional. And IPA is the only iridology association that works with constitutional, that really promotes it, because its founders were the people who brought constitutional to North America. And I just love the constitutional, the way it helps me in my client work. It's just so amazing. How often do I do trainings? Once per year, twice per year? So Naomi, I'm assuming you're meaning how often do I hold the course? I try to do 4 courses a year. Try to do 4 per year. Again, if you're interested in the course, please do schedule a time for us to talk, and we'll see if it's a good fit, and we will work from there. I really look forward to speaking with you soon. Take good care and bye for now.